So what about yourself though? Where do you go?
I'm a voter who I think is going to do the job. Look, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not really a Republican. I voted for Trump twice, but I also voted for Obama. Now, I voted for Obama not because I liked Obama or I felt that his policies was going to do anything for me. Because to be honest with you, I mean, I'll be 70 years old this year, and ain't nobody ever helped me personally in my life. I had to do whatever I got to do, and no matter who's in charge, I'm in charge of me. I can't worry about what a policy is going to do. But I voted for Obama because I felt he was just a better candidate.
So right now in 2024, Trump versus Biden rematch, who is the better candidate?
Oh no, Trump. Without Trump, I'm a better candidate myself. I mean, there's no way nobody can sit there and tell me that this man is competent. And I'm not saying he's not incompetent, because he's not. He's a very intelligent man. What it is like this guy is really, I think he has Alzheimer's, or he has dementia, or he has something. Something's going on.
You're talking about Biden?
Yeah, I'm talking about Biden.
Okay.
The guy is just not there. I watch him, and I'm hoping this guy can finish something.
Wow.
And I feel bad. I mean, I really do. As a human being, I'm not looking at him as a Democrat or, I don't want to goof. And I hate when people, look, I'm not a Democrat, and I'm against whatever the Democrats are doing. But I'm not to sit there and try to ridicule a person in a position like that, because I really don't know how it works. I'm not there. People they talk about Trump like if they know him personally. Oh, yeah, he's no good. He's a racist.
Wait a minute, though. They talk about all politicians like they know him personally. I mean, you got folks like yourself saying that Biden has dementia. I'm assuming you're not a neurosurgeon. I'm assuming you haven't seen his charts. Everybody does that.
No, I'm not. But I've been around dementia. Believe me, I've been around a lot of it. And my sister, she passed away of dementia. My father, my grandfather. I mean, my aunt. I mean, believe me, it's bad.
Fair enough. So let me ask you, I got to move it on with this last question. You mentioned Biden not necessarily being there cognitively, so you don't see him as a viable option. How do you feel about folks suggesting that Trump is a criminal, that he is corrupt, that he wants to be a dictator facing 91 charges? Does any of that make you think twice about Trump?
And the reason why, because propaganda is propaganda. I mean, if it was the other way around and they don't like Biden, they'll do the same thing to him. It all depends on everything is moved on what you hear consistently. And the news and the media and the radio is consistent. So when you consistently hear something, it's like the guy before me, he was saying that Trump said that all immigrants and what drug dealers.
He said they're not sending us their best and brightest. They're sending us rapists and murderers. That's the actual quote from Trump. Do you agree with that?
Exactly, but he didn't say all immigrants are that. He never said that.
No, wait a minute. He did say, he didn't say some versus all. He said they are not sending us their best and brightest, which means nobody coming is among the best and brightest. He said they are not sending us their best and brightest. They're sending us their rapists and murderers. You don't have to throw the word all in there. You just made it clear nobody of good standing is coming. It's just rapists and murderers.
No, I mean, bad news travels a lot faster than good news.
This is a quote. This is a quote.
A lot of immigrants here. I work with a lot of immigrants, and 99% of them, great people. They work hard. They do their thing. You know what I mean?
That ain't what he said, though. He said they're sending us their rapists and their murderers. He didn't say nothing about good people.
Well, you know something? When you dissect people talking, you could try to say something good and they'll make it bad. Believe me.
So you heard? So when he said, hang on. So when he said they're not sending us their best and brightest, they're sending us their rapists and murderers. You saw something good in that.
I think amongst them they are rapists and drug dealers. Yeah, they're different.
All right, that's what I was looking for. Okay, all right. Last question. Last question before I move it on. Simple question. Who won the 2020 election between Trump and Biden?
On what I saw, I thought it was rigged.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It was rigged. That was and I can't argue about it because it becomes into this big brouhaha, and I'm like,
That's why I said it was the last question. All right, look. Hey.
I'm gonna keep it there.
All right, fair enough. Appreciate you coming in. Come on back through anytime. All right.
I appreciate you, man. Hey, God bless you and your family, all right?
My sentiments exactly to you. Thank you. Looking in the box. You don't have facts as well. Listen, I have to ask the folks. You know how we run the program. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. We allow folks to speak. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. Everyone gets to speak. Program is and always will remain MAGA friendly. I had someone on YouTube suggesting that I asked my last caller, did he appreciate Trump throwing the toilet paper at them? Remember, I think they had a hurricane down in Puerto Rico, and Trump went down and he was throwing toilet paper at the crowd. I didn't ask him that. Now that I see it on YouTube, I kind of wish I did for an interesting conversation. 3 years later, no evidence. What's the confusion, says Furback, talking about the 2020 election. It is 3 years after that election, and as Furback points out, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence that Trump actually won? And he said it was rigged. He didn't say that, there was some improprieties or some potential fraud. He said it was rigged. It was rigged so that Trump couldn't win it. Where's the evidence? That's a good question. Going back to the box, and I do appreciate you folks tapping the screen. You could be anywhere, so it's always great to have you here with yours truly. Juice, shout out to Tupac. Bringing up, there we go, if it works there. All right, it's being suppressed. Then where's the evidence of that? If there is actual evidence that the 2020 election was rigged and the evidence that it was rigged is being suppressed, then where's the evidence that shows it's being suppressed? Understand, no matter how far you go down the rabbit hole, people have a flashlight so they can ask you, go this way, go that way. Show the evidence that is being suppressed. Juice, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Trump has won yet again in New Hampshire. Is he on a path to greatness? Is Trump going to be the man come November?
Oh, I kind of like the fact that he's going to be the nominee for the Republican, so he will lose again. And he will now come back 2028 and run again. So
wait a minute. You believe Trump's going to lose in November and then he's going to try again in 2028?
Exactly. I want that faith to be with the Republican. I want that cause to be with the Republican for a very long time.
Oh my God. Now, hold on a second, because the audience, everybody's saying they cannot hear you. Let me do me a favor. Drop out and I'll bring you right back up because we'll try to reset it. Everybody's saying they can't hear you. But they can hear me, but they can't hear you. So drop out and I'll bring you right back up. Okay, while he's doing that, I was going to go in the box, but everybody is saying can't hear him. We won in New Hampshire last night, just the beginning, says Tyson. Certainly you're on the path. Certainly on the path because Trump will, as long as Nikki Haley remains in the contest, Trump's going to win some more states. I don't think there's a state in the union that Nikki Haley is going to beat Trump, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me go back to my guess. Hopefully the audio is correct at this time. You guys let me know right away if you can hear Juice. There you go. All right, I can hear you. I want to see if folks in the comments can you. What are Donna? What is it? What are Donna supporters going to do when he loses? Yeah. Okay. So you think he's going to run? They can hear you. Okay, so you think he's going to run again in 2028? You do realize the guy will be in his mid-80s by then, right?
Republicans don't care. They want Trump. So even if he's going to lose, the thing is just that they can't vote any other person as long as Trump is there. So I don't think Trump is going to win. And the thing is just that, before now, we see Americans like very special people. You guys send people to the moon. But, what's it called? Technology and everything have opened the whole world. People were like, what is going on there? So
It's very common, like back home in Africa, to have dictators and bad leaders. But thank God, you guys, America is having a test, a feel how somebody can be in power and makes policies that have been set for years. So
Wait.
people
Do
are kind
you
of like,
now? What country in Africa? You obviously have an accent. What country in Africa is your? You're not there now, are you? You're here in the U.S. right now, right?
yeah, I'm from Nigeria.
You're from that. So do because we often hear that with Biden as president, countries around the world are laughing at America. But considering you have direct ties to a foreign country, how do people in Nigeria view Trump?
Oh, it's just like the other caller said, people that are very extremist, like in terms of religion, like Trump, because he believes in this abortion thing, like is bad and all that, and he believes that it kind of like that misconception about religion. So people kind of like favor him based on that. But in terms of policy making, and people that listen to the news know that he is fraud. Because we Nigerians, we you know about
Y'all know, but yeah, that's a good point. People in Nigeria think Trump is a fraudster because, as you were about to say, Nigeria knows about fraud.
yeah, we know fraud from afar when we see one.
Yeah,
So
you got that's interesting because yeah, we would think of Nigeria as a fraud expert. So Nigerians are like, hey, he's one of us. Wow.
yeah, we know him, like, so when he sent out emails and all that, people like be wondering, man, our emails are not getting to Americans, but Trump's own, like, so we copy his format and also send out to people too. So he is one of us. He just like
Let me ask you this though, because if you're talking about he's one of you. Now, a lot of folks in America, particularly of African descent, are suggesting that Trump is a racist. Do you see any racist tendencies in Trump?
oh, you see, for me, I don't care if somebody is in the store, maybe a public place, you just a racist. But if you're a policy maker and you're a racist, that's where I have issues with. So, like, and there's a whole lot of policies like Trump have implemented that is racist in nature. Like, is clear that even a blind person can see.
Damn.
So yeah, on a normal, like, and he have made it possible for us to know those who are racist. Before now, during George Bush, like, people are just like dormant, it's just like a sleeper agent, like, people are just cool. Everybody's keeping it calm. But now it's obvious, the racist white nationalists and those ones that are not racist. So Trump have changed America for good.
Wow.
And I'm so happy that the whole thing is coming back. It's just like what is happening in other countries, and they keep like talking about the border being open. This is the what Americans have been doing for a very long time, that is coming home to roost. And now they are mad, like, why is everybody coming here? You went and destroyed the whole world, and we are people want to come because all over the world, America is the legal tender. So people want to come to the source. So if Americans are crazy about it, you should go and remove the base that America have at the whole world. That is number one. You should remove the dollar as a legal tender, and let's see how the American government will survive just in 1 year.
Wow. I can do nothing but listen to you, man. That's strong shit. I don't know if I disagree with much of any of that. Damn. I literally could give you the floor, man. So at the end of the day, how do they view Biden?
The thing is just that one thing America is good at, as in this 21st century, is to psychological manipulation. Americans know how to do psych manipulation or psych ops on people. They can go to a country and influence people to vote against their political will and all that. So the thing is coming back to haunt them. So most people, immigrants like me, we know that Biden is fair. Biden is human. Biden have seen so many things just like we have seen. He's lost his child. He spent a lot on trying to find a cure of what's it called, cancer, because that he's dealt with that too. So he just want to make a good stand. He wants.
So what you're basically saying is that Biden is the guy who really wants to make America or make the world great again.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So that's just the difference. Most people, like we like it. There's so many things to say. It's just like that white people, every time of any generation, they want people to hate. Before now, it was black people. Now is now immigrant. They want to dominate and want to put everything. If you talk about any policy, they don't want to discuss about policy. They are talking about the immigrants are coming to. Okay, now those big organizations, they are exploiting and benefiting from those cheap labors, so they can't stop it. It's just like now we have like how many thousand, like 500,000 active military immigrants. They undocumented. So why don't you start from there? Like, okay, you guys should go back to where your country of origin. They can't do it because they need this cheap workforce. They need us. America, it's just like if you go into the gate and you close the gate and say every other person shouldn't come. Those people that came to Africa, brought sheep and took our forefathers. We are here to look for our those.
You know, I mean, unfortunately, I gotta move it on, but I could certainly talk to you for quite a while. But one of the things I often hear, because as you said earlier in the conversation, Nigeria knows fraud, and they've had investigators come to your country and catch people who scammed old white women and folks in America out of a ton of money. And one of the things that Nigerians often say is very similar to what you said, that America has done so many other countries wrong, they don't even feel guilty for scamming us. I've heard that before. I mean, is that the way typical Nigerians look at America, as if we are just a corrupt country that's done everybody wrong?
Yeah, we know that the America have done a very good job in terms of taking the blame out of the system. Now everybody regard America as the greatest in the world, but within, some people want, just like people say, make America great again, just Americans. Okay, now making America great again is you, or America first, is you taking care of America. We all want that, but America is a melting pot. We have generations, we have like it. Without immigrants coming in, I don't think I'm rambling, I'm talking about a whole lot of things, but what I'm saying in essence is just that we are here because of one reason, just to make this country great. No, we immigrants, like, we don't have anything to like any harm or any bad intention in our hearts. We are just here to have a good life and go back home. That's just it.
All right, fair enough. I do appreciate you coming on, Juice. Definitely our first time talking, but hopefully not the last. That was enlightening, man. So come on back through anytime.
Okay, thank you, man.
Absolute. Wow. You know, now I always enjoy talking to folks from other countries and things like that. I routinely got guy from Greenland comes on the program. I've talked to a Romanian woman on the Ukrainian conflict. I get Australians and things like that, but one of the first from Nigeria, and that was a really interesting conversation. In the comments, Hot Rod, I can't pronounce the rest, said he's lying. Lying about what? What you said, my last caller was not being honest. I'd be curious to have you elaborate. What was he lying about? I know I was much better 3.5 years ago, as well as everyone else, says SJK. Listen, economically, there's no denying that folks favor Trump's economy over Biden. Most Americans do. However, the claim that everyone was better 3.5 years ago is not true. There's a host of folks, different issues, that were better off under Biden or better off under Obama than Trump. Particularly if you believe in the prevalence of electric vehicles, you should be frightened as hell of Trump. If you got money invested in alternative energies, alternative fuels, electric vehicles, let's take Elon Musk, for instance. Elon Musk definitely leans right. You think Trump is going to operate in his best interest, considering he invented the Tesla? His cars will make a hell of a lot more money, will be in a hell of a lot more locations under Biden or a liberal than Trump. So I just want to point that out. Everybody, yeah, appreciate that hat and mustache, Zion. Thank you. Everybody's not doing better under Trump, but I do agree that most Americans favor the Trump economy. Same thing with women's right to choose. You think they're doing better under Trump than Biden? I don't see that. I don't know anybody that thinks that they're better off now than with Trump. Could be. That absolutely could be true. But there are circles of people who would say exactly the opposite. Depends on what issue. Like I stated, if you deal with alternative energy, and a lot of the friends you work with at the plant, at the windmill, dealing with solar panels, dealing with electric cars, all of your friends may want Biden. Depends on what your core issues are. That's what I'm telling you. Depends on what your core issues are. Well, this is Trump's economy. He did this. Yikes. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with conservative Rich. Trump has won in yet another state. New Hampshire goes to Trump. Are we underestimating Trump's path, possibly leading him back to the White House? Conservative Rich, good evening.
How are we doing, handsome?
Doing great. Good to have you on. Is Trump on the path to greatness?
Oh, absolutely, man. I just wanted to bring up a point that, a lot of times we're using immigration statistics that say that they're a net positive when it was controlled migration for decades, right? For decades, we handpicked the people who came to this country. We mostly picked doctors and engineers and people that we needed in the labor force. So that's why their numbers are so positive, and I just don't feel the same way with that's going to be the same case with mass migration that's not really controlled.
Do you buy into Trump's claim that they're mostly rapists and murderers?
No, of course not.
Why would he say that? Why would he say that then?
I think he said that they're sending over some of those people.
But that's the point is he never used the word some. He said they're not sending us their best and brightest. They're sending us their rapists and murderers. I don't hear some in that at all. If you say they're sending us their rapists and murderers, it sounds like collectively you're sending a bunch of bad people to the country.
Yeah, it was definitely a gaffe that he's been choking on for the last 8 years or so. But I just I feel like that's more what he meant was he's a contractor from New York.
Right.
He's not really a politician who went to finishing school. So he says things all the time, man. It's just like I'm like, oh my God, did he just say that?
Yeah.
But that's just being a contractor from New York, I think that's the contractor.
How do you respond to folks who would hear that comment, and if they are a descendant of one of those countries, suggest that it sounds intolerant to them?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I can understand how it was understood and interpreted. But I feel like, we can see the drug cartel doing their thing. I mean, if we all know somebody from Mexico who could tell us about the drug cartel.
But here's the issue in it, because right now one of the things they're hammering, what's coming across the border a lot, is fentanyl. Now, one of the issues, they say we need to get the border secure to get fentanyl deaths and things like that under control. Fact is, Americans like to get high. You don't have a lot of Americans complaining that somebody from the cartel pinned them down and forced fentanyl into their body. I mean, there is a huge demand in America for drugs. Even if you put a border up, we're still going to find a way at the end of the day to get high, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think my issue more with the border is national security, and I just feel like we're flooding the market with cheap labor, and I don't know if that's a good thing. I mean, if farmers need help, we should meet a quota, and we should get the help we need. But I just don't think uncontrolled migration is a smart idea. It just doesn't seem sustainable.
Now, I'm not a fan of, as you say, uncontrolled migration at all. I tend to agree with you. But at the end of the day, even with you suggesting, like many others, that Trump is on the path to regain status as president, do you think the criminal charges he's facing could thwart his path at all? 91 charges, 4 different jurisdictions, I mean, state and federal. Do you think he will beat all of that?
Man, I don't know how he does. I know if any one of us were facing any of that, there'd be no chance for us.
Let me ask it to you this way. Do you think he is innocent of everything he's been charged with?
Probably not everything, but it's over the top at this point. I mean, 8 years into investigating this, he's the most investigated man in the world. They've kicked down more doors searching for stuff that this guy did than any person I ever.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think so many people do not favor him? Why do you think so many people want to get him?
Man in Washington.
You said what?
If anything, at the end of this, I hope people at least admit that there's an accountability issue in Washington.
But they're going to say he is the issue. They're going to say he is not being held accountable. Like for instance, let's be honest, with Trump constantly essentially ridiculing the judge in New York who's been threatening to put him under contempt for the whole time. Do you believe you could go to court and do what Trump is doing and get away with it? You know, sending out the clerk's address and putting their picture online and things like. You think you could get away with that?
No, this is what politicians get away with.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have got away with it as a contractor from New York.
Right.
But now that he's a politician, it shows you where they're at.
Right.
It should make people ask more questions.
So while he is suggesting that he is a victim of the two-tier justice system, you're willing to admit to some degree as a politician he's benefiting from it as well.
Now he is, of course.
Yeah. So
sure. Political power.
So if he becomes president again, what is your vision for America? I mean, obviously you believe he'll improve the country over Biden. I mean, there's a lot of folks that are suggesting he's going to become a dictator and all of this stuff. You think it's hogwash?
He showed he really showed that somebody with no experience can do a better job than people who are corrupt. I honestly feel that. Because you know what? I feel like just energy policy, posture in the world, posture on the world stage to these dictators and these people who want to do others harm. Right? I mean, nobody really made a move.
Well, I got one pushback. When you say that Trump showed us that someone with no experience could do a better job, I kind of disagree when folks say that Trump is not a typical politician. He's an outsider. The fact is, Trump was hanging around the Clintons. Trump has been hanging around politicians. He's hanging around Rudolph Giuliani, obviously. He was friends with Vladimir Putin before he became president because he was about to build a skyscraper in Russia. He is a politician. He just did not have the label. I mean, it's just like a bat boy that's been hanging around the team. He's like a bat boy. Hang on. He's like a bat boy that's been hanging around the team since he was a kid, hanging around the dugout, getting to use the field after the game. You're actually a baseball player. You just don't have a uniform yet. You know what you're doing. He is a politician, whether we want to say he is or not.
Yeah, I kind of agree to a point. He was definitely in the mix, but I feel like he was more purchasing politicians than one of the crew, you know?
Okay, I don't disagree with that, but if you're hanging around
to get his stuff approved and the process underway, you know what it's like to. I mean, nobody knows what it's like to build a skyscraper, really, but you could just imagine the logistics and the things that have to take place, right? So he was probably just paying people off, and I'm sure I really thought he was going to jail for Russian collusion. I really did.
So you believe? Wait, you thought he was going to jail? So did you think he was guilty of it?
I did. I thought, yeah, because that was what the evidence said. The evidence said that everybody was on TV. The news was telling us. That's what Adam Schiff was telling us. Adam Schiff was telling us every day he had evidence in his pocket.
So speaking of hearing things on TV and going with the evidence, I'm gonna ask you a simple question, like I asked one of my other callers a few callers back. Who won the 2020 election?
Oh man,
he was on TV. It shows you the evidence.
We gotta give it to Biden, right? We're here at the next election, so we gotta give it to Biden.
That ain't what I asked you, though. I didn't say give it to.
The nail is set.
I'm not asking you that. I said, who do you think won the 2020 election?
I think Joe Biden won.
Okay. Any idea why Trump is saying he won by a landslide?
I just feel like I don't know. I think we'll never. It's like so many things about the government that we'll just never know.
But
You know,
here's the issue though.
election.
You know, when you say there's things about the government we'll never know, Trump was in charge of the government during the election. If the government is corrupt, does he not face any accountability?
Yeah, but it's like a web, you know? That's why you can't really pin corruption on any one person, because it's like a whole network of players. And this was at the state level. This was just people who hate Trump, you know what I mean? In their district doing what they can do.
So how do you feel about
Pandemic? We ignored Jimmy Carter's election.
real quick, what you coming out? What? I gotta call him. I'm doing a live. What you say? I can't hear a damn thing you say. Yeah. I'm actually I'm here now, so I'll be in there. All right. Okay, I'm getting a lot of calls. You guys on YouTube, I appreciate you tuning in. All right, can you guys hear me now? I had a call come in again. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So how do you feel? You mentioned, some of this is at the state level as opposed to the federal level. And by the way, folks, tap the screen, get your boy up to 40,000. Kind of solicit that. Helps out the algorithm. So definitely let your thumbs not be lazy. Show your boy some love. When you say it's at the state level, now Trump's own attorney general, Jim Barr, America's top cop at the time, looked into many of Trump's allegations that there was election fraud and came back and told him there is none. Do you believe his attorney general was corrupt too?
Not corrupt. I just don't think it's such a hard thing to prove. I don't know. I don't even know what it would take to prove that. You know.
Then where is Trump getting this stuff from? Trump is accusing, alleging all of this cheating took place. Obviously, he's not in all these locations at once.
I think most of us saw it on election night. You know what I mean? I remember waking up the next morning and thinking there was going to be problems that morning. Like, really, I really did, because I went to bed with CNN literally in tears and woke up to them scrambling to explain.
Yeah, but that doesn't...
When I woke up, they were literally scrambling to explain what happened, and whatever, man, it is what it is.
Yeah, but let's go with some of the things that Trump actually claimed, like the Dominion machine switching votes. If you believe,
we've had problems with Dominion. Dominion's been pushed out of a bunch of states for some of their problems.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
And I got a video of Kamala Harris complaining about them in 2017.
That's fine, but here's the issue I have: showing that the machines may have had flaws does not mean the machines switch votes to Biden. Trump is alleging that the machines were not only flawed, but they started switching votes to Biden. Shouldn't he have to produce evidence of that?
It's tough to make claims without any evidence, right? I think he shouldn't be making any claims without evidence. And I think, again, here goes the contractor from New York just running his mouth like the stubborn old man that he is.
You know, you understand.
I love him. That's the thing I love about him the most. He is so fucking stubborn. He's definitely not going to fall for these guys. Excuse my language.
Yeah, but you don't want him, as you say, being a contractor from New York, you don't want him running his mouth and saying things that may not be true, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But again, I think we all believe. I definitely have my suspicions, just because of the pandemic and the way they mailed out ballots in states that weren't really mailing states, and they changed some laws and they bent some rules, and we had harvesting and ballot boxes and all kinds of weird stuff that just wasn't part of the.
Yeah, but I understand, and that's the point I was asking you with the Dominion voting machines. You mentioned ballot harvesting and things like that. How do we know that ballots were not harvested in favor of the Republican Party? Are we just assuming that all methods used to cheat were done in favor of Democrats? How do we know that?
Because I mean, if you talk to, I don't know, man, I just feel like the left is more hate-filled, is more motivated by fear and hate, and you know what I mean. I just feel like they're willing to do things that aren't.
So you see,
to get this guy out of office, I feel like some people might have did things that they wouldn't have normally done.
so you see, out of blind hatred for Trump, the Democrats are likely to cheat, and the Republicans not.
The Republicans are just as guilty. I just don't know if people were looking at the election like that.
What about the so-called fake electors that have pled guilty to trying to cheat on Trump's behalf?
I mean, how many affidavits were signed about ballots and stuff like that? I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of evidence, and I really think we almost need like a special counsel investigation towards the election, because I feel like there's a lot of people just need answers, But
well, let me ask you this though. In
election security.
Yeah, let me ask you in regards to needing answers. For instance, like when Trump said he won the state of Georgia, they had 3 recounts. I mean, like, is there a point where you have to tell the person, look, we've done it and we've given you the answers, or do you let them continue saying, okay, what about this and what? I mean, is there a line where you draw?
I mean, at this point, I wish we weren't talking about it anymore.
We wouldn't be if.
I know, but it's a big deal too. You understand? It's a big deal. You take away, if people feel like their vote has been taken away, what else is left?
Well, and I agree with that, but this could all be solved if he would just present ample proof. I mean, I'm fine with making sure the election is secure, and if we got to get Biden out of there because he cheated, I'm fine with that. But just throwing out things with no evidence, as you say, because you're a contractor and you just say whatever you want, isn't that kind of irresponsible?
I think these people have just gotten away with everything for so long that it's like impossible. The evidence comes in small little puzzle pieces. And you know what I mean? You got to be paying attention for a long time to have seen a bunch of little puzzle pieces that paint a not so pretty picture of what's actually happening in Washington. And once you've seen some of that picture, a contractor from New York who may have pew-pewed someone on Fifth Avenue, actually his crimes pale in comparison.
Yeah, but I do have to say this. As you pointed out earlier in the conversation, a lot of this stuff is at state level. If the state of Georgia tells you we've done a recount 3 times and you lost, or in Arizona they've done multiple recounts and even allowed Trump to hire his own third-party organization that came back and told him you lost, at what point do you look at the guy and say you're just not going to accept the results?
Yep, I think what needs to happen is, like I said, an independent.
He hired an independent in Arizona. He actually did that.
That's what I mean. I mean, why is Donald Trump investigating the election?
Because he's the only. That's a good question. Why is Trump investigating? Because he's the only one in power that's claiming it was stolen. There is no Republican. There are literally no Republican senator, virtually no Republican congressman, no Republican governor that's saying he won. That's why he's the only one.
Touch it, man. The judges don't want to touch it. The courts don't want to touch it. Nobody wants to touch it.
He had 60.
And you know what?
Wait.
We don't even want to talk about it.
He had 60 court cases that did touch it, and they all ruled against him. Does that mean anything?
No, most of that was Jay was just dismissing it and throwing it out of court because the evidence wasn't substantial. And
why is that?
They wanted to decide elections.
Why is the evidence?
Remember when the court decided for George Bush? That was like mayhem.
But wait a minute.
So the courts don't want to be involved in elections.
But you're saying the courts didn't take it because the evidence is not substantial. Why would you go to court making a claim without substantial evidence?
No, I know that, and that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't just be Donald Trump out there trying to investigate the election. It should be like an independent counsel with authority who can look over things and, just make appease the people. If people really believe that their vote wasn't counted, that's a horrible thing.
Yeah, but I have to push back and say, if Georgia counted the votes 3 times, you're saying they should do more? They should do something else in addition. They hand counted the votes in all of the counties. At what point?
I mean, if the people feel sick, I feel like we just need to. I'm happy. I'm over it. You know what I mean? I feel like if there are real concerns out there in some of these states where there were irregularities and where there were laws changed for the pandemic, then you need to address your people in your state, because these elections are run by each state.
Right.
They're not. It's not a federal election, right? So it's up to the people in that state to say, hey, we don't feel like our election.
Yeah, but I think one thing where you and I have a disagreement on is if you are the president, conservative, and you appoint an attorney general who's the top cop in the country, you gave him the job to be in charge of America's law enforcement, talking about Attorney General Barr, and your guy looks into your claims that the election was fraudulent, and he comes back and tells you these claims are unfounded. Not at some point, you have to accept the results. I mean, you got 60 court cases, you got multiple recounts. I mean, are we at a point where some people are simply, it was stolen and I will not accept any other answer?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I absolutely believe it was stolen. They're never going to prove it. I just knew it. I knew it was coming before it happened.
Fair enough.
I knew it with the pandemic.
All right.
It just was too many irregularities.
Appreciate you coming through, conservative. Anytime.
No problem, handsome. Keep it up, man. I love what you do, bro.
And I appreciate you coming on. All right, looking in the comments, they threw the envelopes away, so they really couldn't match up the ballots to the actual envelope, says Connie Moore. Well, and that's what I keep saying on a lot of the live streams is you can show a ton of suspicious activity. What you cannot show is what was on the ballots from those committing those activities. I've watched 2,000 Mules a half dozen times. They show things that look suspicious. But if you show somebody walking to a ballot box multiple times in the middle of the night and you can't prove what's on the actual ballots, how do you know they're not cheating in favor of Republicans? Now, as my last caller said, I believe that's probably the most popular opinion, which is why a lot of folks still believe the election is stolen. As he stated, I just feel that out of blind hatred for Trump, the Democrats are more likely to cheat. Now, obviously, that does not equate to evidence, and that'll never make it through any court of law in existence. But I do believe what he stated is exactly how a lot of Republicans feel. Democrats cheat, Republicans are honest, and that's all you need. But at the end of the day, then that means you're operating on emotions, not actual facts, not actual proof. It's all because I feel like something happened. But if I'm ever asked to prove it, I'm not going to be able to because it's what's in my heart, kind of like religion. Looking in the box, Dems are more patriotic than Republicans. Wow, says Kevin King. I'd like for you to elaborate on that one. What makes you say that? Trump is already setting up, if he loses, to say it was fraud. Thank you for that heart. I don't know who sent it, but I do want to show you some appreciation. Thank you for whoever that was. I think that was Tammy. Thank you. Appreciate it. Didn't they tell Hillary Clinton to get over it? Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Trump's never going to get over it. I don't think Trump is ever going to get over what happened in 2020. He believes the election was stolen. And as I talked to my last caller, Trump is certainly in that category. There is no such thing as evidence enough to show that Trump lost. I would just refuse to accept anything you come up with. And if you present too much of it, your credibility is not trustworthy either. I do believe that's the way it's being viewed. He will do it again in 2024, says Ron. Yikes. You're suggesting that if some reason by chance Trump loses in 2024, he's going to say the election was stolen again? Is that what you're saying? The black people did it. Oh my God, crazy ass comment. Look, and I see somebody said, yeah, listen to you, show me evidence. But if you do, I don't believe it. You know that's the way you are true. All right, fair enough. Going back to the box. Is Trump on a path to greatness? Listen, he just landslide in Iowa and then another nice victory in New Hampshire. It wasn't a landslide over Nikki Haley, but it was double digits, and it was certainly better than the polls had originally predicted. So, it is what it is. Is President Trump on the way back into the White House? Let's keep the program moving with Nathan Freeman. Good evening. Would the country really be that bad off if Trump got... Nathan, good afternoon. Good evening. Nathan, are you there? All right. Apparently my caller was on hold and got busy. We'll keep it moving. What have Biden done for black people? Yikes. Ron, you're asking what has President Biden did for black people? Depends on the black person. I mean, as I point out, whether you're talking about what's going on with the pro-life, pro-choice movement, we could talk about Kamala Harris. She's the first black VP. You don't think Trump would take credit if he was responsible for appointing the first black VP? Whether you like her or not, she's black, she's a VP. Same thing with his what do you call it? The speaker, I can't, is it Valerie Jarrett, whatever her name is, the one with the brown hair or whatever, that is a White House press speaker. She's black, first doing that job. I mean, he's appointed a lot of African Americans to positions. Supreme Court Justice, I mean, does he not get credit for any of that? I mean, we're giving Trump credit for pardoning Lil Wayne and Kodak Black. And by the way, Kodak Black is a career criminal. You don't hear the Trump administration bragging about pardoning rapper Kodak Black. That guy got a rap sheet that is long as hell. You talk about the rap sheet of George Floyd, the late George Floyd. Look up Kodak Black. By the way, he's been charged with another felony since Trump pardoned him. So Trump pardoned that guy. But if you're going to get Trump credit for pardoning felons, appointing a Supreme Court justice, appointing a black VP, giving us Juneteenth, a black holiday. I mean, you don't give him any credit for any of that, huh? That stuff wasn't going to happen without Biden. And by the way, he's a co-partner in the Universal Care Act. All of that's under Biden's resume. I mean, do you count any of that as doing anything for black people? Biden has done more than any president in the last 50 years, says Pete 1017. Yikes. Wow. Kodak wasn't mentally fit to stand trial, says Justin. Kodak Black's, just look up his rap sheet. That's all I'm saying. That guy should not have been pardoned. And by the way, before I go back to the box, mentioning Kodak Black, here's where the backdoor deal is. Kodak Black's attorney, he's a white guy, I don't know what his name is, but Kodak Black's attorney actually was on The Apprentice. He is a long-term friend of President Trump. You gonna tell me there's no corruption there? Kodak Black deliberately goes out and hires a friend of Trump, and suddenly he's getting a pardon? You think Trump is in the business of pardoning career criminals? Really? Okay. But Kodak Black's attorney actually was on The Apprentice, actually was on the show. So think about that. That didn't come out, and that's not going to come out from right-wing media. But just don't take my word for it. Look it up. Look it up. Looking in the comments, what do you think of Tim Scott right now? Wow, he looks weak. I don't have anything positive to say about Tim Scott. If you believe Trump is the man to lead America, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of legitimate reasons to support Trump. But to run for president and not say anything critical of the front runner, I'm talking about Tim Scott, I'm talking about Vivek Ramaswamy, I'm talking about everyone basically except for Chris Christie, and now Nikki Haley decides to finally criticize Trump. But Trump is way out in front. You're not going to have a legitimate chance of becoming president by avoiding the elephant in the room, which was President Trump. So to come out now, immediately endorse Trump, which is what Tim Scott did. He's on TV. I love Trump. Why the hell did you even run? Why not just endorse Trump as a senator in South Carolina? What was the purpose of even running? I mean, you look back at that. If you were a American citizen that didn't favor Trump and actually gave your hard-earned money to the Tim Scott campaign, you should get a refund. His actions show he had no desire, no aspirations to ever become president. To completely skip discussing the elephant in the room and then endorse the guy almost immediately later. Why even run? I don't have any issue with endorsing Trump. Like I stated, if he's the best guy for the country, fair enough. There's nothing wrong with it. But why run for president? Why take people's money if you're making no effort to actually win the position? I mean, just take money from big donors, that's fine, but taking money from individuals who really want you to win, you should give the money back because he wasn't trying to win. I mean, he was running for a cabinet position. I do believe Vivek Ramaswamy is in that category as well, and to some degree, possibly Nikki Haley was originally. And now she's had her ass literally embarrassed by Trump. Now she's trying to get hard because he's basically said, you ain't coming over here no matter what. If Nikki Haley had came out hard on Trump, who knows? I don't know. But MAGA's not a big fan of Nikki Haley. But there's a lot of traditional Republicans that may have respected her a bit more if she had actually stood her ground and showed she wanted to win. I don't see where any of those folks were actually trying to win. I don't know what they were in it for other than cabinet positions on the Trump administration. Looking in the comments, and he said, Big Nasty says, at least Nikki kept her dignity. Fair point, fair point. I don't see Tim Scott walking away looking dignified from that shit at all. I don't. And I'm not saying this from an anti-Trump perspective. I'm saying I don't see anything about the Tim Scott candidacy that showed he actually was concerned, actually trying to win the presidency. I don't see anything about it. He wouldn't even answer a question about President Trump. Wouldn't even answer. So then why are you running? Trump is still in the race. And that does apply also to Nikki Haley. I mean, they all agreed that if Trump is found criminally liable or whatever the kid, they would all pardon him. Nikki Haley's constantly saying he was the right president at the right time and he done great things for America. Well, damn it, he's still running. Why not just vote for him again? Why are you up here? He's still running. A lot of people want Trump to win. He hasn't stepped in. Why are you running against him if he was so great? I don't understand that at all. Just get up there and brag about the other guy and just vote for that guy. Looking in the comments, it's not about that. I don't know what the hell it's about. If you're in a competition and one guy is way out front, and your strategy is to not mention him, you tell me what it's about. That makes no sense. You think Trump would allow one of them to be a competitor and say nothing about him? Nikki Haley doesn't hold a candle to Trump. But just because she's still in the race, he's hammering her. Bird brain, Ron DeSanctimonious, he was willing to speak out about all of them. Chris Christie eats too much. He was on Chris. He didn't say nothing about Tim Scott because Tim Scott didn't leave him a reason to. Vivek Ramaswamy started hinting that he was climbing in the numbers. Immediately came forward and said Vivek is not MAGA. Trump made it clear he was totally willing to criticize all of them one by one. Meanwhile, they're in the race against him and they don't want to say a damn thing about him. Is there dignity in that? Really? I don't see it. I really don't see it. I would look at that like one of Tim Scott's supporters at one of his town halls asked him, if you won't stand up to Trump or say anything about Trump, what are you going to do with Kim Jong-un or Xi Jinping or Vladimir Putin? You won't even say nothing about a guy who's up on 91 charges. What are you going to say about these other people? Tim Scott is a bad candidate. That's in my opinion. Going back to the box. We'll keep it moving with Yo-Yo. Can't play with my yo-yo. Don't try to play me out. Appreciate you coming on. I don't know what happened there. We'll try it again. Box is acting a little bit funny. They are cowards. Whatever the case may be, I don't see, does anybody see Tim Scott, his candidacy, like he was legitimately trying to win? Is there anybody that believes that in here? Aaron, good afternoon. Hey, what's up? Trump, is he going to do it again?
Well, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Anybody that still supports Donald Trump needs to look themselves in the mirror and ask themselves why.
The economy.
Do what?
The economy. There was no global conflicts under Trump. There's a lot of reasons why they're voting for Trump.
Donald Trump's an idiot.
What makes you say that? That's a blanket statement. What makes you say that?
Because Donald Trump's an idiot And if you support Donald Trump, you need to look yourself in the mirror.
Tell me what's wrong with supporting Trump.
Donald Trump's a racist, a bigot, and a fool.
Damn. Okay, obviously you're telling me how you really feel. So what makes you say Trump is a racist?
Because oh my God, I consider a Trump supporter.
No, I lean left. I want to hear your opinion. I'm not going to censor you. I want to hear. Don't worry about where I'm leaning at. I'm here to listen to you. I'm going to let you speak. Why do you suggest Trump is a racist?
Because he likes using the N-word.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you know that? You heard him using it?
Yep.
Where did you hear Trump using the N-word?
Oh my God. It's never mind.
Wait, hold on. Hey, Aaron. Oh my God. I tell you, you try to run an uncensored program, and some folks would prefer to be censored when challenged on their statements. I didn't take that guy out. He hung up the phone. Look, I made it clear. I made it absolutely clear, like I do to all you folks. And by the way, tap the screen, get me on up to 60,000. We try to deliver good content, but I made it clear to him, regardless of what side of the aisle you may think I'm on, I'm not going to block, ban, or censor you. If you think Trump is the best guy you've ever seen in your life, or if you think he's the scum of the earth, I'm going to let you speak. We got 500 plus people in here. Is there anything wrong with simply being challenged on why you feel the way you do? Now, I make it clear on the program, even though I run an uncensored program, there are no shortage of guests that prefer echo chambers. What I mean by an echo chamber is I want everybody in the box to have a red hat on. We all believe, Democrats are libtards. I want to be around my own kind. There's a lot of liberals that feel the same way. I want every guest to think Trump is a racist and bad for America and he's a criminal. On this program, we believe that everybody should speak regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. My last guest, in my humble opinion, preferred an echo chamber. I should be allowed to speak unchallenged. We don't do that here. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on. Even if you're on my side, I'm going to challenge what you're saying, particularly if it's as controversial as Trump is a racist. So I just wanted him to describe why he felt the way he did. He was not in the mood to have to explain himself. Just let me talk. You shut the hell up and just what I'm saying and don't question it. We don't do that here. Going back to the box. We should call each other names and lie. Stand together and save this country, says Christina Kerr. I like that. We should not call each other names. I don't know if you're going to ever get to the point where you can avoid lying, but I certainly believe that solid, responsible leadership starts at the top. So I use this to push back on folks who believe that, Trump is a typical New Yorker. As one of my callers was saying, he's a construction guy. Whatever. I don't believe the name calling should be coming out of the Oval Office, because it does tell the subjects, people below, you and me, constituents, voters, if the leader is doing it, then it's okay for us to all do it. Which is why one of my callers, my Nigerian guest, stated that he believed under Trump, things were coming out in the open that people normally wouldn't feel comfortable talking about. Because if he's doing it, it must be okay to do it. So I'm not a fan of that. The name calling and things like that, I don't believe that being a typical New Yorker or being somebody that speaks your mind should excuse that. I do believe in having tact, dignity. Otherwise, if you don't mind people just doing whatever the hell they want or saying whatever the hell they feel, just stop complaining about people walking around with their pants around their ass. He just dresses like that. He's a typical urban guy. I mean, seriously, have some tact about yourself. If you're expecting the average citizen to respect dress codes and things like that, then damn it should come from the White House. You don't want kids cussing at their teachers, but you're okay with the president cussing at the citizens? Somebody help me make this make sense. I don't understand that. These children in schools don't know how to respect folks. They don't know how to act. But we're okay when it's coming out of the White House? Where am I getting this wrong at? Look in the comments. Also, President Trump dated an African American woman for 2 years. I have heard of that. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not going to say it's not true. I don't know what real relevance that has. I'll tell you this. Folks change. Folks can change. Because a lot of folks would suggest, well, Trump is not this or that because he dated a black woman. We bring up Biden and we suggest that Biden is intolerant towards blacks because of the 94 crime bill. That's 30 years ago. That's 30 years ago. Same thing with Trump saying I identify as a Democrat. Trump is actually on video saying that the economy does better under Democrats. I'm going to assume we all think he's changed from that. He went to Hillary Clinton's wedding. I'm going to assume we all think he's not the same guy from that. So he dated a black woman 30, 40 years ago. Does that mean he's the same way now? I don't know. But people do change. Trump absolutely had anti-Second Amendment views. He's on video discussing it. He's now different when he became president. People change. So maybe he did a black woman. Maybe he loves black people now. But that's not to say he can't change, because he's shown in a number of ways he has changed before. I'm not going to say that this happened or it didn't happen. But if I had to guess, Trump has made some pro-choice decisions in his past. I believe that. Maybe I'm wrong. But if you got Stormy Daniels saying he didn't use protection, I believe that guy probably made some pro-choice decisions in his past. He's pro-life now. Looking in the box, Trump let King and, what does that say? Trump let King and Malcolm X borrow $100,000 each and never took a payment. Never took a payment back. He done it to help. You're saying that Trump loaned Malcolm X, of all people, $100,000. Oh, I need to see some evidence to that, particularly because of how he reacted to both the Central Park 5 and Black Lives Matter. If Trump loaned somebody as inflammatory as Malcolm X $100,000, I'd have to. But it is possible, because Trump regularly hung around Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, and most MAGA think they're corrupt now. Trump was hanging around them quite a bit throughout their adult life. So it's possible. I don't know. I will say this, too, in regards to Trump, whether you think he's racist or not. Trump is an opportunist. Trump is about making money. Trump is about, right now, getting reelected. He will work with the dark side to benefit. Malcolm X would have been considered the dark side in his day. If I can, if I can do something for Malcolm X and it benefits me, maybe with contractors in New York or, getting real estate built, Trump would have done that. I believe that. So I don't know if that means he's racist or he's not racist, but I do see Trump as an opportunist. As you guys say all the time, he's a businessman. In New York City, you don't get things done during the era of Trump, when the mob and mafia controlled every damn thing, without working with the dark side. So it's possible he may have given Malcolm X money. I don't necessarily say that's impossible to believe. Going back to the box, quintessential politics. Good afternoon, or good evening rather, and welcome to the program. Unless you're on, Trump knows how to manipulate. This is his one skill. He only has one skill. I don't know about that. That is his one skill. MAGA is Exhibit A. Clue, he only lies. You're saying that Trump is a skill manipulator, and MAGA is a perfect example because you believe MAGA has been manipulated. Yikes. I'll just leave it at that. Look at it. Your screen went dark. Must be because the box is jacked. That's when that happens, which means I must have a caller in the box that doesn't know they're in the box. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I didn't know you were there. Who do I got?
Quintessential politics.
Okay, all right. So what do you think? Do you think Trump is on the path to greatness? And real quick before you answer, folks that are listening to the program, while you have a dark screen, the minute this caller is done, it will come back. It does happen occasionally, so bear with the program. Once our conversation is, it happens sometimes. Do you think Trump is on the path to greatness? You think he's going to be back in there?
Yeah, 100%, man. It's feeling like 2015 all over again. The meme magic is there.
Wow.
People are flooding X with the funniest memes of all time. I think Meme War 2 is well and truly on.
Why won't if Trump is going to do it, and I certainly think he's going to get the Republican nomination? Any idea why Nikki Haley won't drop out?
I don't know. It seems to be money related. I think donors have really pumped cash in there. So I think someone's got her ear telling her, listen, you got to keep going. And to be honest with you, I mean, there must be some Israeli money in there as well.
Whoa.
Because the first thing that happened on her campaign trail was like the Jerusalem Boys Choir releasing a song praising Nikki Haley. You can fact check that. You can Google it. That's what happened. So I think there's a little bit of tension there. Trump seems to be, more pro-Netanyahu, and those who are not Netanyahu aligned don't like him. And so I think there's a bit of a tussle happening there, but I'm not sure that's the full picture. But in general, it's a bad image for Nikki, to keep on going, really, because everyone is kind of dropping out and paying their respects almost. It's been incredible to see the kneeling to Trump, really. I mean, even DeSantis, after a very hard-fought campaign, getting on the edge of really falling out of love with the whole Trump base was falling out of love with Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
But now he's kind of fallen back in line. Even Matt Gaetz has brought him back into the fold, tweeted something with Ron DeSantis. So, all is forgiven, it seems. And I think that talent that they have to, especially with Matt Gaetz now, to bring people back into the fold and really,
So at the end of the day, though, do you see Trump as likely to win it all and become president again?
I 100% think so. I mean, the crowd numbers are back to what they were, before the coronavirus. And so I don't think they're going to be able to rig it this time. And they really rigged it the last time with media malpractice. They had the cost of the Avengers showing people how to do vote-in ballots.
But wait a minute. What do you mean when you say rig it? Because you're talking about showing people what to do with ballots, for instance. You're telling me the Republicans couldn't do the same thing?
Well, they just didn't do that in 2020.
How do you know? How do you know Republicans didn't use the same methods to cheat?
Because a year before, Trump was already warning about mail-in ballots. He was saying this is a crooked system. And then a year later, the mail-in ballot system was instituted. And, and the cost of the Avengers was showing kids how to put, ballots in envelopes. And people really responded well to that because, everyone was sitting at home looking at social media saying, I'm going to vote from home. I think it's a bit different this time because, COVID is almost a memory now. And it's back to street politics where you stand outside in minus 22 Celsius weather and you vote for someone. The MAGA movement is showing it.
So let me present this to you in regards to the cheating you mentioned.
Yeah.
During the 2020 election, obviously Trump and Biden are not the only people on the ticket. There's a lot of down ballots. There was a lot of Congress and senators. There was legislation in various cities and states that was on that ballot as well. Republicans, with the exception of Trump, actually outperformed expectations in 2020. If the election was stolen, why are none of them being accused of winning by fraud?
Yeah, no, I guess it's a good question. I just feel like the media has a role to play in it. If you watch an old documentary about the Obama years, when he was running for president, you see that in 2008. I mean, look how the media totally undercut Sarah Palin, for example.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Obviously you must be talking about the mainstream media because I watched a lot of right-wing media during the Obama times, and I was hearing he wasn't even born in the country and should be disqualified. Do you see the media undercutting Obama?
Yeah, totally. I mean, at that point, Fox, Trump is phoning into Fox and Friends every single morning during that time. That's okay. But in terms of the media establishment, alternative media was not getting the amount of eyeballs that it is these days.
Yeah, they're not getting the amount of eyeballs, but corrupt is corrupt. So how do you feel about President Trump during Obama's run saying he should be disqualified because he wasn't even American. I mean, do you see Trump trying to undermine Obama's presidency?
To an extent, I mean, that was politics. I mean, he knew if he brought this issue up, it's going to cause incredible questions to be asked. I mean, a whole bunch of questions were brought up during the Obama times.
But it's not true. But it wasn't true. Are you saying he just brought up a lie to get things questioned?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not the first politician to bring up something that later was disproved. The Democrats are pretty much the masters at doing that.
But but wait a minute, you're comparing Trump to Democrats who are masters at lying. I thought we brought Trump in because he was not a typical politician. He was going to drain the swamp. Now you're telling me he's doing typical politician stuff.
I just think he was mostly an outsider that had much more of a record than, say, Obama. Now, what I mean with media malpractice is a literally unknown senator at that point in 2004, Barack
Right.
Obama. Eventually, they roll out the red carpet for this guy, and the media played ball. Even the Democrats that were relying on the media to be, kind of supportive of them, pivoted over to Obama. I think they did the same with Joe Biden in 2020, but I think they've run out of steam now in 2024. You see the layoffs happening in media at the moment. So I think that they are lacking the arsenal that they had, for the entire era of Obama. And now Biden. And I just don't think there's enough resistance now. I think Trump has an open way into, managing to get into the presidency now.
Fair enough. I do got to move it on, but at the end of the day, do you think he will beat all of those charges, or you think they just won't come to fruition before he wins?
I think it won't come to fruition, and then when he wins, he's going to pardon himself, and that'll be the most controversial pardoning of all time.
Do you support that? Do you support, if a person is up on charges, do you support them being able to pardon themselves and prevent justice from prevailing?
Well, I say let the courts decide effectively, but it's just one of those things, I mean, there's been controversial pardonings in the past. Bill Clinton pardoned.
Yeah, but never of themselves.
Yeah, but Bill Clinton pardoned a family member, for example. I know this would be a crazy example of Trump, doing it himself, but the public kind of see through it. The public, people know that 91 charges is insane. People know that valuing Mar-a-Lago at such a low level is absolutely insane. It's just one of those things. People are seeing through everything.
I don't know about that, because folks didn't see through Obama being born in Kenya. Some folks buy the insane. I get your point, but there are people right now to this day that believe Obama was born in Kenya.
What about his half brother who also doubled down on that? There was that guy on Twitter back in the day saying,
well, yeah, but if you want to go with Obama's half brother doubling down, Trump's daughter is testifying in court that he lost the election.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
All right.
The system is so that even if this guy goes to prison, he could rule from prison type of thing. So
would you vote for him if he was incarcerated?
If he was incarcerated, the problem is already with the mugshots and everything, people are doubling down and saying, I'm going to vote for this guy. So
what about you? What about you?
I can't personally vote in American elections, but if he was in prison, based on how much the Democrats are going out of their way to try and, mess with this guy, I would actually vote for him, even if he was incarcerated. Because he would have been incarcerated on, say they did it on January 6th. Everyone has seen through what January 6th represents. If they incarcerated him for January 6th, I would still vote for the guy because it would be predicated on a lie.
What country, real quick, what country are you from?
Originally from South Africa. Okay,
all right. So, in regards to you saying everybody can see through January 6th, even though you're not able to vote in our elections, what did you see January 6th as?
I saw it as a total setup because, you know, they were tweeting, listen, we're going to be at this place at this point at this time a week from now. And then, you know, that just sets up all sorts of interest groups to get involved and buy a bunch of MAGA hats and literally go out there and start telling people, yo, walk into the actual Capitol, you know. It just seemed like entrapment. You know, so
any idea why the police? You had all of the Republican senators, all of the Republican Congress. You had the Republican vice president. Any idea why none of them are suggesting false flag operations like what you're talking about? They were actually there. Why do you think none of them are saying exactly what you said? That these are not Trump supporters. This is a setup. People just put on MAGA hats and did this. They were there. Why do you think they're not saying it?
Yeah, look, I mean, some of the Republicans, I don't know where their interests lie, but, you know, I like the fact that they released a whole bunch of footage that kind of disproved some of the talking points about January 6th, that showed some of the police officers showing guys around the place. So, you know, it just feels like they have been slowed down from revealing the total truth of this. And then you have those other things like Ray Epps, for example, where he's the one saying, hey, go into the Capitol, and you know, people on the ground saying this guy smells like a Fed.
Then wait. If he smelled like a Fed, then why would you commit a crime that he's telling you to do?
Look, I agree that the problem is you've got a lot of guys sitting in prison that said way less than what Ray Epps said. That yes, did go into the Capitol, but Ray Epps himself is not charged. Doesn't that stink a little?
Well, in regards to Ray Epps, I'll just say it like this. Folks believe that Trump had the election stolen from them, so they were willing to go to Washington to help defend Trump, to stop the steal, so to speak. So you go all the way out to D.C., by the hundreds, if not thousands, listen to Trump speak. He tells you we're going to go to the Capitol building, go peacefully. It's only a 2-mile walk. And the guy you came out to defend, you ignore all of his instructions and listen to Ray Epps, somebody you don't know from Adam? That makes sense to you?
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. But what I'm saying is there are people who were probably arrested for, you know, incitement, where he's like one of the guys that actually incited, you know? So,
I've never heard of somebody. You want him can I incite you to commit a bank robbery? I mean, incitement. You know right from wrong. You're an adult. What do you mean incitement?
Yeah, I just think you know, a lot of those guys were. I mean, there was a whole bunch of conspiracy charges, right?
You got people climbing the walls and breaking windows. You don't get to blame. Now, I agree with you. There are people on video the police are giving tours look like, but that's another whole question to be asked, because we know one side of the building, at the very least, people were breaking into portions of that building. Just like there are people on video being guided around, there's people on video that are breaking into the building. So any police officer that's in the Capitol building undoubtedly knows that at least one side of the building is under siege. Why the hell would you be giving tours out at that time? That's something that should be asked. Yeah. All of your radios are screaming with people asking for backup. How the hell do you give a tour when that's happening? So I don't know if the tour thing makes sense.
Yeah, but you have to admit that the footage does look strange, though.
I believe that the Capitol police officers that were letting folks in either felt overwhelmed and did it out of fear, or they believed that MAGA was fighting a good fight and they were on their side. Now, the police, they're not holding accountable, but in my opinion, they should be. I mean, like I said, even the police that were walking around with the likes of QAnon and Shaman, they all knew that place was under siege. Why are you letting people in other than you're afraid of the person or you're with the person? Capitol Police should be held accountable. All of this, they were giving tours is bullshit. How many times you went to a Washington monument, whether it's the Capitol building, the Lincoln Memorial, wherever, and the tour guide was an armed cop? They don't give tours. They have never given to you. The Capitol Police don't give a tour of anything in Washington. So that point right there makes no sense that they're giving tours. They don't do that.
Yeah, I just think it's 3 years later, and if this was a real insurrection, they would have charged it as such at this point. So, you know, they're leaving it very, very late in the game to try and charge a guy that's about to become the president of the United States.
Fair enough. I do got to move it on. I appreciate it. Quintessential.
All right.
Hey, go ahead and drop your box because I don't see you on there. So I do appreciate you coming on.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Appreciate it. All right.